All right, now it's time to get into a very fascinating portion of this presentation. It's called the Stoned Ape Theory, human superfood fungus. All right, and this is based off the book Food of the Gods by Terence McKenna. And it was a really good read. I read this, a couple years ago, but it came back up. I've always wanted to talk about this because it was kind of interesting to me that mushrooms could be linked to the upgrade of our networking systems in our brain. Okay, it's the networking system of the forest and the brain of Earth. But a long time ago, when we started to consume mushrooms, it started to upgrade us, and we started to raise our level of consciousness. Okay. In his book, Food of the Gods, 1992, Terence McKenna describes one of his many controversial ideas, the idea known as the Stoned Ape Theory. It relates to how our ancestors evolved to produce language and create art. In a nutshell, the Stoned Ape Theory says that magic mushrooms sped up the evolutionary process and that ultimately the psychedelic experience is responsible for the origin of the human mind in language and culture. It has long been said that the psychedelics expand your consciousness, and brain scans of people under the influence of psychedelics reveal the psychological and biological underpinnings of this phenomena. According to researchers Robin Carhart Harris, these substances seem to create a heightened state of consciousness by increasing levels of random brain activity. McKenna gave new meaning to this phrase by proposing the psychedelics were responsible for our ancestors' curious doubling in brain size. And remember, mushrooms double every 24 hours. And in the book, it says that mushrooms grew on cow dung in Africa. And now, what was the inflection point where the natives at that time, the Africans at that time, that saw the mushrooms to eat the mushrooms out of the cow dung? Maybe they were curious that they never seen that pop up before, and it was the psychedelic version. Um, so that's very fascinating to me. That's where humans got their supernatural upgrade from, to be able to be different than other animals on Earth. Really good read. I suggest it. Really good read. All right, now for some gematria. Again, it's still the same concept for a lot of these. Mushrooms have superpowers. Superpower. Mushrooms compound growth. But the new one is the mushroom has elevated humans. 333 English ordinal, 117 reduction. So look, mushrooms have superpowers. Mushrooms compound growth. And the mushroom has evolved humans. They all equal 333 English ordinal and 117 English reduction. So you see the connection there. Powerful. Powerful, right? And some people may say, "Oh, we don't know if that's true or not." We don't. But the gematria says there's a lot of connections. So is the possibility there? I believe so. Then we have mushrooms wield a godlike power, and McKenna's Stoned Ape Theory, part true, equals 137, both of them in English reduction, 33rd prime. Mushrooms wield a godlike power. McKenna's Stoned Ape Theory, part true. And what people were saying is, McKenna, a lot of scientists, McKenna could be true. It could be right. McKenna could be right, but he's probably only partly right because there were so many other factors in play as well. To say definitively that mushrooms were the sole catalyst to elevating the human consciousness, that's tough to say, and I don't think we'll ever get that answer. But I think it's at least nice to say that most scientists say, you know what, we can't prove it was true, but we can't prove it was wrong either. And most likely, it was a role in the elevation of the mind. Um, and so they concede to that. And at the end of the day, we have to kind of be okay with that. Unless you want to do a study yourself, but it might be too tedious, too much of a research to get it done. And I just wanted to use this one partly because the Colell rule I haven't brought that up actually recently in a while. The Colel rule is where you can subtract one or add one digit to your gematria calculation, and you still get the same number. Partly because one is a parent number and it's not actually number, so it's close enough. So that's where we have mushroom, superhuman fungi, 334 ordinal, 118 reduction, really close to all these, right? You just use the Colel rule and you're one digit off, and that's okay. The energy is close enough. Again, food of the gods, Stoned Ape Theory, superhuman fungus food. But I want to read a passage of this coming up with our next slide. Okay, so this is actually kind of together with our next slide.